You can feel it, can't you? That quiet sense that somewhere along the way, you stopped treating yourself like a man who deserves respect. Not because you're weak, but because life has a way of wearing you down until you forget who you are. There comes a moment in every man's life when he realizes this truth. If you don't build your own self-respect, the world will gladly break it for you. Maybe people have taken advantage of your kindness. Maybe someone walked all over your boundaries. Maybe you've kept silent when you should have stood tall. And now you're here, tired of being who others expect, ready to become who you were meant to be. Stoic philosophy was built for this exact battle. It teaches you how to rebuild your worth from the inside out, so no insult, rejection, or betrayal can shake you again. Today, you'll learn how to build a level of self-respect so strong no one can break you. Not even you. 1. Self-respect is not a feeling. It's a discipline. Most men think self-respect is something you feel on good days. When life is smooth, when people treat you well, when things go your way. But that's not self-respect, that's convenience. Real self-respect is a discipline, a standard you uphold even on the days when you feel tired, uncertain, or unseen. It's the quiet contract you write with yourself. I will not abandon the man I'm becoming. A lot of men struggle with self-respect not because they're weak, but because they confuse confidence with character. Confidence rises and falls with circumstances. But character, the actions you take when no one applauds, that's where true self-respect grows. Stoics understood this deeply. They knew a man's worth is not measured by his mood, but by his ability to act according to principles, not impulses. Think about the moments when you've lost respect for yourself. It rarely comes from failure. It comes from the small betrayals, saying yes when you meant no, breaking your own boundaries, promising yourself you'd change and then postponing it again. Every time you shrink to avoid discomfort, you teach yourself that your own voice doesn't matter, and the world responds accordingly. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to rise to the work of a human being, not the work of someone seeking comfort, approval, or an easy life, but the work of someone committed to strength, virtue, and responsibility. Self-respect begins exactly there, with daily behaviors that align with who you claim to be. If you want a self-respect no one can break, you must first stop breaking it yourself. You must become a man who follows through, a man who keeps his word, a man who refuses to negotiate with his own excuses. When you act with discipline, you feel worthy. When you avoid what's hard, you feel fraudulent. Your emotions are simply responding to your actions. So start small. Wake up when you said you would. Train even if you don't feel strong. Speak honestly even when it's uncomfortable. Set a boundary and actually hold it. These are not dramatic acts. They are the foundation of a man who respects himself. Self-respect isn't built in a day. It's built in the moments when you choose integrity over impulse, consistency over comfort, and growth over avoidance. When you live this way, something powerful happens. You stop needing others to treat you like a man of value because you finally treat yourself like one. 2. Stop seeking validation. Give yourself what you keep begging. For a man begins to lose himself the moment he starts needing others to confirm his worth. It happens slowly. You adjust your tone so people won't be upset. You work overtime hoping your boss notices. You give more than you should in relationships because you fear being replaced. Before you even realize it, your entire identity is built on reactions, not principles. And nothing destroys self-respect faster than outsourcing your value. The truth is simple. The more you crave validation, the easier you are to manipulate. When someone knows you need their approval, they can withhold it to control you. They can criticize you to make you chase their acceptance. They can praise you just enough to keep you dependent. This is why the Stoics were ruthless about one thing. Never let another person own your sense of worth. Marcus Aurelius warned, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, yet we care more about their opinion than our own. The man who needs constant reassurance becomes a slave to it. The man who can validate himself becomes free." Think back to moments you felt insecure or small. It wasn't because someone rejected you. It was because you believed their opinion mattered more than your own. But ask yourself honestly, is someone else's judgment truly more accurate than your lived experience, your inner compass, your values? The answer is always no. Validation is not the problem. The source of validation is. When it comes from within, from living in alignment with your standards, it becomes strength. When it comes from the outside, it becomes a drug, temporary, addictive, and destructive. So pause and ask yourself 3 questions anytime you feel tempted to prove something to someone. Does this align with my values? Would I be proud of this choice privately? Am I acting from confidence or from fear? If the answer exposes weakness, you've just seen where your self-respect is leaking. Starting today, give yourself the approval you keep seeking in others. Approve your own decisions. Validate your own effort. Celebrate your own progress. When you stop begging for external confirmation, something shifts. The people who once held power over you lose it instantly. You become harder to guilt, harder to shame, harder to manipulate, and most importantly, you become a man who stands on his own foundation, not on the shaky ground of other people's opinions. A man who validates himself becomes untouchable. 3. Build the inner fortress. Strength through solitude. There is a kind of strength no gym can give you and no mentor can teach you. It's the strength that comes from being able to stand alone, not lonely, not isolated, but grounded in yourself. Most men fear solitude because they've never truly met themselves. They fill every quiet moment with noise, distraction, entertainment, or someone else's voice. Because silence exposes the truth. You either like the man you are, or you don't. But solitude is not emptiness. Solitude is construction. It is where a man builds the walls of his inner fortress, the place no insult, betrayal, or disappointment can break into. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius wrote many of his reflections alone on military campaigns, surrounded by chaos, pressure, and uncertainty. Yet in solitude, he found clarity. He found himself. Modern men struggle because they never pause long enough to hear their own wisdom. They jump from one opinion to the next, one relationship to the next, one distraction to the next, hoping the outside world will provide direction. But real direction comes from stillness. You cannot build self-respect if you are constantly running away from your own mind. Think about the times you've made your worst decisions. They usually happened when you were overwhelmed, reactive, or influenced by someone else's expectations. Now think about the times you made your strongest choices. Those usually emerged from moments of clarity, when you stepped back, breathed, and listened to your own values. Solitude sharpens that voice. A powerful practice is the 24-hour solitude reset. Not isolation, just intentional distance. No social noise, no external advice, no emotional clutter. Spend time doing only what strengthens you. Reading, reflecting, walking, training, writing, sitting with uncomfortable truths. In a single day, you will notice something shift. You'll see which relationships drain you. You'll feel which goals are actually yours and which ones you inherited. And most importantly, you'll notice your mind becoming still, steady, and confident. Solitude also teaches you emotional independence. When a man cannot be alone, he becomes easy to break. One rejection can destroy him. One argument can shake his identity. One person's silence can collapse his confidence. But a man who has learned to anchor himself in solitude cannot be easily moved. His worth does not shrink when people leave. His character does not crumble when circumstances change. Strength through solitude is a timeless, stoic truth. If you can stand alone, no one can knock you down. 4. Remove the stories that make you weak. Every man carries stories in his mind, stories that were planted long before he realized he could choose different ones. Maybe someone told you that you weren't smart enough, strong enough, disciplined enough. Maybe a past relationship convinced you that you were hard to love. Maybe childhood taught you to stay quiet, to not take up space, to downplay who you are. These stories become invisible chains. They shape how you walk, how you speak, how you react, and how much you demand from life. And the worst part, you repeat them so often that they start to feel like the truth. But Stoicism teaches something radically freeing. The event is never what breaks you, your interpretation is. The story you attach to an event is what makes it empowering or destructive. Two men can fail at the same thing. One says, "This proves I'm worthless." The other says, "This proves I still have room to grow." Same event. Completely different story. Completely different life. You've lived long enough to know that most of your negative self-beliefs didn't come from evidence. They came from emotion, fear, or someone else's insecurity projected onto you. And yet you've carried them for years as if they were carved in stone. But they're not. They're vapor, stories you can rewrite the moment you stop treating them like facts. Here's a simple truth. Your mind will believe whatever you repeat with enough conviction. If you've spent decades reinforcing the story that you're not enough, of course you'll hesitate, shrink, or sabotage your own progress. But imagine what would happen if you replaced that narrative with one built on responsibility, strength, and clarity. Imagine living with a story that actually supports the man you're becoming. Try this. Whenever you catch yourself thinking a harsh or limiting thought, pause and ask, is this a fact or is this a story? 90% of the time it's just a story, one that's outdated, inaccurate, and unworthy of the man you're trying to build. Then rewrite it. Replace "I always fail" with "I'm still learning." Replace "This is just who I am" with "This is who I used to be." Replace "I'm broken" with "I'm responsible for my next chapter." This is not delusion. This is ownership. You're choosing which story becomes the blueprint of your life. The moment you stop living inside the narratives that make you weak, something incredible happens. You start acting like the man you could have been all along. Because the truth is simple. You're not broken. You're just misinformed. 5. Cut off. People who benefit from your low standards. One of the hardest truths a man must face is this. Not everyone in your life wants you to grow. Some people don't just tolerate your low standards. They depend on them. They like you more when you're uncertain, when you doubt yourself, when you don't set boundaries, when you accept less than you deserve. Because a man without standards is easy to use, easy to manipulate, and easy to keep small. If you look closely, you'll notice patterns. Certain friends only call when they need something. Certain co-workers respect you only when you stay quiet. Certain family members treat you like the version of yourself you've outgrown. And certain romantic partners prefer you insecure, because your insecurity guarantees your loyalty. These people don't benefit when you rise. They benefit when you stay exactly where you are. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus warned that if you want to improve, you must be prepared to be misunderstood, criticized, or abandoned by those who are comfortable with your former self. Growth threatens people who refuse to grow. Self-respect threatens people who relied on your lack of it. But here's the empowering part. You don't need to fight, explain, justify, or seek permission. The most powerful move is quiet distance. When you raise your standards, people either rise to meet them or fall away. Both outcomes are wins. Take an honest look at your relationships. Who drains your energy? Who belittles your effort? Who dismisses your dreams? Who treats your boundaries as optional? These are not random behaviors. They are indicators of how someone benefits from your smallness. And as long as you keep these people close, your self-respect will always have a ceiling. Try this exercise. For the next week, reduce your availability to those who consistently disrespect your time, your effort, or your emotional space. Don't announce it, don't argue, don't explain. Just step back. You will immediately see who panics, who adjusts, and who disappears. The ones who disappear were never meant to stay. The ones who adjust are worth keeping. The ones who panic feared losing control, not losing you. A man with strong self-respect does not beg for loyalty. He doesn't chase people who show patterns of disregard. He invests in relationships that reinforce his values, not his weakness. And he knows that distance is not punishment. It is alignment. When you stop tolerating what drains your dignity, your entire life changes. You gain clarity, you gain peace, you gain power. Because the truth is simple. Distance is self-respect in action. 6. Self-respect means doing what's hard, not what feels good. Every man wants to respect himself, but very few are willing to do the work required to earn that respect. Modern life pushes comfort at every turn. Easy entertainment, easy excuses, easy escapes. And while comfort feels good in the moment, it destroys a man's inner strength over time. Because self-respect doesn't come from pleasure. It comes from mastery over your impulses. Stoic philosophy makes this brutally clear. The man who always chooses what is easy eventually becomes weak, dependent, and ashamed of himself. But the man who chooses what is hard, what requires discipline, effort, and sacrifice, builds a foundation of self-respect no one can shake. Not even failure can break him, because he knows he showed up for himself. Think about the moments you felt proud of who you are. They never came from scrolling on your phone, skipping commitments, or taking shortcuts. They came from doing the thing you didn't want to do, waking up early to train, finishing a project even when exhausted, telling the truth when a lie would have been easier, saying no to something that would have weakened you. Pride is not an emotion. It's the echo of discipline. Most men lose self-respect because they constantly break small promises to themselves. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it when I feel motivated. I'll get serious eventually. But tomorrow never comes, and every time you delay, you reinforce a painful message. My comfort matters more than my growth. That belief silently erodes your dignity. The Stoics trained themselves through voluntary discomfort. They would fast, endure the cold, simplify their routines, and embrace challenges intentionally. Not because they loved suffering, but because they understood a timeless truth. If you can handle discomfort by choice, life cannot break you by surprise. Try this. Adopt the daily hard thing protocol. Every day, do one thing you don't want to do but know you should. It can be simple. Take a cold shower, go for a run, have the difficult conversation, say no to a temptation, stand up straight when you feel like shrinking. These small acts reshape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who avoids difficulty and start seeing yourself as a man who moves through it. Self-respect grows in the same soil as discipline. The more you demand from yourself, the more you believe in yourself. And when you consistently choose what strengthens you over what comforts you, something powerful happens. You begin to trust your own hands, your own decisions, your own path. Respect grows where discipline lives. 7. Become a man you trust. Consistency over mood. A man's self-respect collapses the moment he realizes he cannot trust himself. Not because he lacks potential, but because he keeps breaking his own word. You've felt that sting before, the quiet disappointment of knowing you said you would do something and didn't. It's the kind of wound no one else sees, but you feel it every time you look in the mirror. And if repeated long enough, it becomes a belief. maybe I'm not the kind of man who follows through. But that belief is a lie. You don't lack strength, you lack consistency. And consistency is a skill, not a personality trait. Stoics understood this deeply. They believed a man becomes powerful not by chasing motivation, but by training himself to act independent of emotion. Motivation fluctuates, mood rises and falls, but a disciplined man moves the same whether he's tired, frustrated, unrecognized, or uninspired. He doesn't wait to feel like it. He does it because he said he would. That is the root of self-trust. Think about the people you respect most. They aren't the most emotional or charismatic. They're the most dependable. Their word means something. When they commit, they follow through. When they say yes, it's real. When they say no, it's firm. Now ask yourself, are you that man for yourself? Because if not, the world will sense it. People treat you according to the trust you have in yourself. If you hesitate, they doubt you. If you wobble, they push your boundaries. If you break your word, they stop believing you because you stopped believing you. Rebuilding self-trust doesn't require perfection. It requires consistency on a small scale. Start with one daily non-negotiable, something simple, repeatable, and disciplined. Wake up at the same time. Meditate for 5 minutes. Lift weights for 10. Write your priorities. Eat clean. Stick to your budget. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you follow through every day. No exceptions. These small victories compound. They create a new identity. I can rely on myself. Try the 7-day self-trust streak. For 7 days, choose one commitment and execute it without negotiating. When resistance appears, and it will, remind yourself, my mood does not dictate my actions. By the end of the week, you'll notice a shift, not in your results, but in your relationship with yourself. You'll start to feel solid, dependable, grounded. The kind of man who doesn't abandon himself when life gets heavy. A man who trusts himself doesn't fear failure. He knows that no matter what happens, he will show up again tomorrow, and that makes him unstoppable. A man who keeps his word becomes a man he respects, and a man he respects becomes a man no one can break. 8. Live by virtue, not impulse. The Stoic core of self-respect. If there is one thing that separates a man who respects himself from a man who constantly doubts his worth, it is this. One lives by virtue, the other lives by impulse. Impulse is easy. Impulse is emotional. Impulse is reactive. It makes you say things you regret, chase things that weaken you, and act in ways that contradict the man you want to become. But virtue, Stoic virtue, is different. It is deliberate. It is stable. It is the spine of a strong man's character. The Stoics taught 4 virtues that form the foundation of unbreakable self-respect: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Wisdom means you choose clarity over chaos. Courage means you do what is right even when it is intimidating. Justice means you treat others fairly without betraying yourself. Temperance means you control your impulses instead of letting them control you. When a man aligns his life with these virtues, he no longer needs affirmation. His character becomes his approval. Look at the moments when you felt disappointed in yourself. They usually weren't because of the external event. They were because you acted beneath your own standards, losing your temper, letting lust lead you into bad decisions, giving in to temptation, or avoiding responsibility. The shame didn't come from the situation. It came from the gap between the man you were and the man you knew you should have been. Virtue closes that gap. Men often underestimate the power of living by virtue because it doesn't feel dramatic. There's no applause for choosing patience instead of anger. No celebration for walking away from disrespect instead of engaging in chaos. No immediate reward for telling the truth when a lie would protect your ego. But these choices accumulate. They become the architecture of your identity. And slowly, steadily, they build a kind of self-respect that is impossible to shake. Try this practice. At the end of each day, perform a virtue alignment check. Ask yourself 4 questions. Did I act with wisdom? Did I show courage when it mattered? Did I behave with fairness and integrity? Did I restrain impulses that could have damaged my character? Write down 1 win and 1 improvement for each. This 5-minute reflection will reshape your sense of who you are. Over time, you will begin to notice something powerful. Your respect for yourself no longer comes from achievements, appearance, or external validation. It comes from your choices, your discipline, your integrity, your alignment with the standards you set. And once virtue becomes your compass, no one can pull you off your path. Not insults, not temptation, not pressure, not fear. You become a man who answers to his values, not his impulses. Self-respect is not something you chase. It's something you earn. Every time you choose virtue over weakness. At some point in a man's life, he must make a decision. Either continue living by the standards the world hands him, or rise into the kind of self-respect that cannot be negotiated, manipulated, or broken. Everything you've learned in this video points toward one truth. Self-respect is not something you wait for. It is something you build day by day, choice by choice, through discipline, boundaries, and virtue. You now understand why validation from others will never be enough, why solitude strengthens your foundation, why old stories must be rewritten, why relationships built on your weakness must be released, and why doing what is hard will always elevate you above the man who lives by comfort. You've seen that trust in yourself grows only through consistency, and that virtue is the backbone of every unbreakable man. But knowledge alone changes nothing. Self-respect becomes real only when you act on it. So choose one shift. A boundary you'll enforce, a story you'll replace, a commitment you'll finally keep, a discipline you'll no longer postpone. Begin there. Let that one act become the first brick in your inner fortress. And remember this: the world does not become gentler just because you are trying to grow. There will always be criticism, rejection, misunderstanding, and pressure. But none of that can break a man who stands firmly on his values. None of that can shake a man who knows his worth is self-made. None of that can move a man who respects himself too deeply to abandon his path. Thank you for being here, for choosing growth, and for giving yourself the chance to become the kind of man no one can break. If this message strengthened you, share it, subscribe, and let's continue building this brotherhood of men who rise by virtue, not validation.